Good afternoon. So, going to have kind of a serious topic today on the rant. Probably one of the harder topics I could discuss. So, might be a bit interesting. Before we get to that, let me run through the other important stuff that I need to cover, and then we'll get busy. Tomorrow night, of course, Prepper Nurse 1 will be on the show, and I'm looking really forward to that. Really forward to that. So I wanted to make a mention of that again. Also, don't forget, he's got a sale going on his site, and this is the last day of that sale. It's 25% off site-wide. So any of the merchandise, the long-term storage food products, 25% off. Just use the coupon code Hurricane 2018, as you see in the little ticker up top there. So again, the last day for the sale. It ends at midnight tonight. And it's not often they have like sales like this. I remember they offered one bang-up deal on a couple of packages, and I've seen them offer 20% discounts. 25 is the most I've seen them offer, and Prepper Nurse said that was the most that he had seen them offer as well. So, wow. Okay, so I wanted to get that out of the way so I don't forget. Again, I'm really looking forward to tomorrow night's show. Looking forward to be a very productive, informative, type of show. So, anyway, let's see. Let me go ahead and run through financial stuff and all that, and then we'll have a little chat. It's gonna be a bit interesting because I don't know how much of this stuff, if it, I've shared with you all. I don't know one thing in particular if I've ever even brought it up. It's not it's not something that not something I'm proud of. It's not something I really want to think about, to be honest. But I think it's important to discuss. Just because something's uncomfortable for me doesn't mean that I should avoid talking about it. I think it's important. So, let's see here. Okay, so let's run through this stuff real quick here. YouTube, let's see, we're at $1.14. I can't remember where we were yesterday. I think $1.15. I think yesterday, so they took another penny. So thank you, YouTube. Speaking of that, I know I didn't put the monologue video up yesterday. I totally forgot about downloading it and clipping it out and getting it up and all that good stuff. So my apologies for that. Let's see, Steemit. We're still in the same spot here. 10.153 Steam, 5.647 Steam dollars, and of course we're still adding to it, so I can pay Peter back that we robbed to pay Paul. So anyway, it is what it is, right? 23 hours is when I can redeem this one here, and we really don't have anything. The 0.01, that will disappear. So I'm learning that if you've only got 0.01, basically like 1 cent, you don't get that. It just like disappears. So it's got to be at least 2 cents. So 2 cents or higher, that you get to keep. Anything lower, of course, you don't. So anyway, pardon me, Google AdSense. Let me refresh real quick to make sure. $2.03, which brings us up to $25.37 for the month. So we're already going to break $50 on our balance at the beginning of the month. Which is incredible. Another 50, and then we'll reach our threshold, and we'll be able to get our payment from Google AdSense. So then we get to start all over again. Yay! All right. I think that pretty much covers the financial part of it. Boy, I did whip through that quick today. let me whip through Twitter and the news. More than 20 dead in Athens wildfires. This stuff was from last night. 21 hours ago I tweeted that. 20 hours ago I tweeted, teen couple plotted to kill parents so they could be together. Kind of a messed up story. And you know what? I mean, it's messed up from the beginning, but you know what? At least they were trying to do it right. This guy, he's 18 years old, and what it was is they were wanting to get married, and so the girl, who was a minor, wanted emancipated so that she could get married, and they wouldn't do it. So I guess the idea was they were going to kill the parents and run off and get married. So, wow. Let's see. Pepperidge Farms voluntarily recalls goldfish crackers. Now this is above. There's 4 different varieties. This is above the Ritz crackers, which was recently recalled as well. So goldfish crackers. So any of you crackers out there that like goldfish, don't eat them no more. Anyway, sheriff accused of holding cocaine parties for fellow cops to rape underage girls. And this is on the website republicbroadcasting.org. I don't know the site real well, but a lot of these sites I'm very weary of because, well, there's a lot of bogus crap out there. Let's just be honest. And but I did do my homework on this. It is absolutely 110% true. This is not a false news story of any kind. And the only reason why I didn't share the link from the actual local news agency that did the story on it was because I felt this the title that was used on republicbroadcasting.org was better. Not better, it's not, you know what I mean. It was it had more content in the title. Because I think this is one of those articles it's important for people to read. People need to be aware of this stuff. They need to know that this stuff is going on, right? We aren't pushing back for no reason. We aren't pushing back because it feels good. We're not pushing back because, it's the hip thing to do. We're pushing back because we're fucking tired. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. And so I wanted to, I would rather use the headline that would grab people's attention in this case, because people need to understand this stuff. Here, we got these dimwits out there doing the lip sync challenge, and they can't even recite to you the Bill of Rights. I'm not interested in their public relations stunts. Oh well, I won't get off on that. IDF shoots down Syrian Sukhoi warplane that allegedly violated Israel's airspace. UN Security Council discusses escalation in Gaza. Trump is very concerned Russia will be fighting hard to impact U.S. election. Now this, when I read this, it pissed me off. It really did. So that throws me right back into the mindset of what in the hell games is going on. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. What is going on? So some of you may know of the Trader Joe's situation that happened. And there was a employee that was shot and killed. Turns out it was law enforcement that shot and killed him. Yeah. So I quoted a piece out of it, and this is faux news. I mean Fox News. So I quoted a piece out of it because I thought it was a little bit important. I'll say, and I quote, The standoff ended when Atkins agreed to handcuff himself and walked out of the front door, surrounded by 4 of the hostages. Oh, well, I am certainly glad that it ended to where the gentleman handcuffed himself and turned himself in. I really am. I truly mean that. I'm happy. So can anybody explain to me why in the hell he was shot at? It makes no sense to me. Makes no sense to me. None at all. Innocent person lost their life. Duck boat survivor. I'm not going to play this one today, but it is on our Twitter if folks want to go listen to it. My husband's attempt to save my children will keep me fighting. And again, I this is one of those stories that I just have a hard time backing away from. Somebody had told this young lady that when they found her husband, that he was holding on to their 3 babies, to the 3 kids. And that is that's incredible. And to hear her story, I think she did a really good job of explaining what it was like to be under that water. Absolutely horrifying. She also, in the things she said, she also confirmed to me that the solution we're looking for here is to make it to where that entire canopy releases. Because she talks about how she couldn't find her way out. She kept trying to find a way out. She couldn't find a way out. So I think that's going to be a key answer in making sure that none of us have to report on something like this again. Make it so that canopy releases. Attach flotation devices on it so that it will release and it will rise to the top. And of course, individuals that have on life preservers, personal flotation devices. I know they're kind of picky on the name you use for them. Then they can safely rise right to the top. So again, the Coast Guard, from my understanding, had made the statement that if they were wearing their personal flotation devices, there would very likely be more fatalities because they wouldn't have been able to get out. So, and that makes total sense. They would have been trapped to the top of the vehicle. So, very heartbreaking. The entire ordeal, very heartbreaking. U.S. lawmakers to introduce bill to sanction Russia's sovereign debt. Trump says U.S. ready to make real deal on Iran nuke program. Which gets me too, right? What in the hell is really going on? Okay, and I normally don't report on anything entertainment really related. There's very rare instances that we do. However, anytime I could put something like this out there, I will, because in my opinion, we all need to take up a fight against heroin, and so here you go. Singer Demi Lovato rushed to the hospital for reported heroin overdose. Nightmare, folks. Nightmare. Okay, so that covers the news. So we're going to have a little talk today, and what spawned this on was I'm having a rough day for one, but a simple little thing made it harder, and it's one of those simple little things that people probably mindlessly do and think they're helping, because we are living in the society of symbolism, to where we don't really do anything, but we post a meme, or we put a magnet on the back of our car, and there we go. We did something. We did something. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. We need to stop with this attitude that we're actually fighting something merely by sharing a post on Facebook or putting a sticker on our car. Okay, because it's not helping, right? How many of us, including myself, I'm raising my hand here, how many of us have shared things on social media talking about how 22 veterans a day commit suicide? I have. I most certainly have. So I would imagine, I don't think it would be too awful far, to say 100,000 people have shared similar posts on social media about 22 veterans committing suicide a day. How many veterans do you think are committing suicide today? How many do you think will commit suicide tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day? I can tell you, 22. Why? Because that self-seeking, attention-wanting post didn't do squat. What will do something? What will help? Because I certainly want to help this. I suffer from PTSD. I get it. I want to help this. And this is the best I know to do. What I'm doing right now is going to be the absolute best I know to do to help knock numbers down. Only thing I know of to do. But I'll tell you what, it's more real than sharing something that somebody else wrote up and had been shared 50,000 times. It's more real than just saying, oh, yeah, I care. How was the ball game last weekend? Right? So, let me let you in on a little bit of me, so that maybe you understand where I'm speaking from. Okay? My worst bout with PTSD many years ago, in my early 20s, I was living with a woman, and I was doing okay, right? I've suffered from this all my life. Okay, this isn't something that just I've suffered from this for a long time. Before this incident, I suffered from it, but it really didn't. It only affected me in minor social ways up to this point, and not nothing. So I went to work one night where I was working, and I had an incident, and it was, the incident was totally unrelated to anything, it was just, I don't know, some freaking whacked out guy, I don't know. But I was a supervisor where I worked at, and one of the things about being a supervisor at this particular kind of place is you had to be a guy that could handle yourself. And the reason why, the business had to deal with trucks, with semis, okay? And I'll tell you what, you want a handful of trouble, you deal with a pissed off truck driver, okay? So when you get a pissed off truck driver on your hands, you've got a problem, okay? And in this particular business, we stood the risk of causing damage to a truck. Okay, it could happen. Sometimes it happened from negligence. Other times it happened because the truck was a piece of crap. Whatever the case may be, it was okay. I'll say it. It was a truck wash. Okay, we washed, we cleaned the outside only of semis, tractor trailers. And some dude came in, and folks, I'm no angel. You know, I've done a few things in my life, and I'll tell you what, I have no idea what the hell this guy was on. I couldn't tell you to this day what the hell this guy was on, but this guy was whacked out of his damn mind. And all of a sudden, he approached me. There's only two of us there. I was supervisor of midnight crew. There's only two of us there, me and my employee. And he walked up to me and pulled his knife out of his pocket. Now, mind you, I'm the type of guy that, to this day, I ask myself, what the hell happened? Because I'm the type of guy that I'll kick the literal shit out of you. I won't think twice about it. And, you know, it's not like I would have had a hard time doing it, considering we got stick mops that were like literally within arm's reach. I wouldn't have even needed that. But something that night in my head flipped. And instead of reacting how I would have reacted any other time, I got scared. Which was kind of new to me, because aside from my father, people didn't scare me. People did not physically scare me. They didn't. If somebody were to walk up to and hit me, I wasn't the one that was in trouble for that, all right? I can tell you that much. But I was horrified. And wound up losing my job and everything over that because I couldn't go back to work. I couldn't do it. And for months after that, and I couldn't tell you how many months, I honestly don't remember. It's not a bit, it's a lot foggy for me. But for months, when my girlfriend at the time would leave for work, I would run down into the basement of the house, cover myself up in a blanket in the closet. Not just one either, like a ton of blankets. And I would not come out of that basement, out of that closet, from underneath those blankets, until she came home from work. And that went on for months. So, when I think about that, that whole situation, a part of me feels ashamed. I don't know why, it's just there. I feel ashamed. I feel embarrassed. Makes me feel a bit helpless. And even talking about it raises my anxiety level. So, to somebody, and I'm just me, I need to really say this, and I should have said this up front. I am one person. I am an individual. I am speaking to you from where I sit. Okay? I'm not saying that every single person on this planet that suffers from PTSD suffers the exact same way or feels the same way that I do, because that's not the case. I need to make that clear. Because I think a lot of times we see too much of that. General blanket statements thrown out there. And then there's entire groups of people that are overlooked. But when I see those posts on Facebook, it's frustrating. And it actually causes anxiety. Okay, it brings up things that I don't want to think about and I don't need to be thinking about. So, again, I'm not speaking for everybody that suffers from PTSD, but I am speaking for those that suffer in the manner that I do. You may think you're helping with that. You're not. You're not. When we got Blue's kind of like a multi-purpose dog. Okay, first and foremost, Blue is our kid. No two ways about it. She's our kid. But Blue also does serve an underlying role. She is a service animal for the both of us. And today was the first time that I had to use Blue in that role. And boy, is she getting good. She's doing an incredible job. Absolutely incredible. I couldn't be any more proud of her. So, you have to understand, we may have odd ways of doing things. We may have, but there's reasons why. I like to live a pretty structured life. Why? Because I control that, right? Because I control that. You want to really throw me off kilter? Throw something in there that's not in my normal routine. I have a hell of a time recovering. I don't go many places. And typically, if I want to go somewhere, I do so because I want to go somewhere. Oftentimes, and I somewhat get this because it's something that most people wouldn't think twice about, and I get that. But oftentimes, I get asked to go somewhere to do something, and I politely decline. Okay? And it's fine. I don't expect people to understand or to know ahead of time or whatever. People ask me to go somewhere, do something. That's fine. That's fine. But when I decline and they say a second time, they either ask me again or tell me, now you've pissed me off. Now you've pissed me off. Now, it's not often in my life that I've had people go for a third time, and I wouldn't advise it. Because if we're standing face to face, I'll break your fucking nose. Plain and simple. A man should be as good as his word. A man should be able to say no, and that be it, and not have it questioned. And it's frustrating for me to talk about. But see, now's the time that I need to talk about it. Now's the time that I need to have this discussion. Not when I'm feeling okay, because I won't get the things out. I won't be able to describe to you properly what it's like. And this is important to me. Because I do want to help. I want to help others with PTSD. Not just veterans, but anybody with PTSD. It's not fun, folks. It's not. And I'm getting better, but it takes time, and unfortunately, that's the only thing that fixes it. Sure, I could go get hopped up on medications and it'd make me feel like I can take on the world. That's not fixing anything. Okay, that's masking it, and I don't want to mask it. I need to get better. Okay? And the only way I'm going to get better is like anything in life that's worth it, you have to work for it. And I'm willing to work for it. I'm trying. I'm trying my hardest to work for it. Believe me, I am. It's just, it takes time. Back years ago, I told you about that incident. It probably took me a year to year and a half to bounce back from that. And I did okay. And I got better and better and better. And, I probably got to my strongest point ever in my life after that. And then in January, it'd be 5 years ago, literally overnight, I lost everything I own and my children. And at that point, I got to deal with not only my PTSD coming back, but also an identity crisis. Because everything I ever had throughout my entire life, everything, stuff that my grandpa handed down to me, and my dad, and everything, my tools, everything that materially made me was gone. I literally had like 3 shirts or 4 shirts. I think 4 shirts. I think I had 4 shirts, and I had like 2 pairs of jeans, I think, and one of them was all ripped. That's it, folks. That's it. As far as clothes, I had my computer tower, the very same computer that I'm talking to you from right now. And the monitor that I had to replace like a month or so ago, that was the monitor I had. Okay? So the speakers that Jen uses on her computer right now, those are the speakers that I used, that I had. That was it. Very, very, very small amount of clothes and my computer and some vaping equipment. That's it. Out of an entire lifetime. And that threw me into a tailspin that I didn't expect. I would have never expected an identity crisis from it. But I'm bouncing back. Probably the most important thing, if I could give people one thing to take away from all of this, in order to help those with PTSD, is listen. And I know that sounds cliche and that sounds stupid. No, let me go a bit deeper there. When I say listen, I mean shut your damn mouth, shut your damn thoughts, and listen. Okay? Because if somebody with PTSD reaches out, chances are high they need to reach out. Chances are high they feel they are approaching a point that is very, very dangerous. Okay? And by dismissing their thoughts or dismissing their needs, you dismiss them. And you can have all your theories and your ideologies and all that, and you can cram them right up your ass. Because it's not helping that person that's suffering. It's not something they can just get over. It's not something that they can just blow off. It's not something they can just go drink a beer and forget about. It's not like that. Folks, when I suffered years ago, I would be sitting on the couch, and literally in my mind, I would see somebody bust through the door and open fire of my home. That scenario ran through my head over and over and over and over. Now, was there somebody out there that wanted to get me, that wanted to bust through my door and shoot me? No. Absolutely not. I had way, way more friends than enemies. Could probably count my enemies on one hand. I'm not into making enemies. There wasn't nobody out to get me. The only one that was out to get me was my own mind. But it didn't change that fact, and I knew that fact. I knew that. I consciously knew that. But see, if it was something that was that easy to just get rid of, I wouldn't be talking about it today. You wouldn't have 22 veterans a day committing suicide. You know, you have to take those folks seriously, especially the veterans, folks, especially the veterans. There's a lot of attention whores out there, okay? A lot of them. A lot of them. Oh, woe is me, woe is me, woe is me. A lot of them. Most of the veterans, they're not playing. They're not playing. They're not looking for attention. There's a very good chance they're ashamed of their condition. There's a very good chance they're scared. Probably scared shitless. Don't dismiss them. Don't dismiss them. Let them lead. Let them talk. And most importantly, accept what they say. Whether you agree with it or not. It's not about you. I think that's where sometimes, especially in this society, we have a hard time. I think that's where we largely fail. We're so busy trying to think about what we would do and command them to do what we would do, that we seem to forget that it's not us. I'm guilty of it too. We all are. Every one of us is. I try though. I do actively try. I don't. One thing I try not to do is tell somebody else how to live. I try. I'm sure I fail. I'm sure I fail. But I actively try not to. But if it comes to a situation with mental illness involving mental illness, and somebody comes to speak to me, you will see me shut my mouth real fast. And if they want input, I will give input. But they won't get input unless they ask for it. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. You know, a lot of these folks, you know, have gotten past and gotten through some very, very dark times without somebody hanging over them telling them how to live their life. And a lot of us have had to find ways to cope and ways to push that inch further to make it past that moment. And some of those ways may seem odd to you. Okay, and they're all different. I've got my things, and everybody's got their little things that they do to cope for that moment to get through. Don't trivialize that. Don't try to change it. Don't try to alter it. Leave it be. They're doing what, at least at the moment, they know of that works best. It's and sometimes it could be self-destructive things, folks. Sometimes it could be self-destructive things. When I thought about talking about this, a scenario popped up in my head, out of the blue, which typically when that happens, I know where they came from. But you know what? And this may sound crazy to most, but if I had a friend that wanted to commit suicide, I would, and I had the chance to speak to them before they committed the act. Hypothetically, let's say I knew they were going to commit the act. I had a chance to speak to them before they committed the act. About the most I would do is ask them if they were sure. You know, I would ask them if they're aware that there are people that do love them. Want to make sure that they understand that. But in the end, am I going to stand in front of them to keep them jumping off that bridge? It may sound like a crazy answer to you, but no. That's their fight, not mine. I will give ample opportunity for them to speak to me, for them to change their mind, but I'm not going to forcibly stop them. I am not going to rob them of their peace. Now that is selfish and inconsiderate. Now you can either take it from a healthy mind that don't know what it's like to be in that boat, or you can take it from somebody that knows damn well what it's like to be in that boat. I would have gave up a long time ago if I was on this earth for myself. I can tell you that right now. But I'm not here for me. Not at all. In fact, I don't know much as far as on my behalf. You know, 46 years old, what the hell do I got to show for it? And I'm not talking necessarily about material possessions either. So, not here for me. I'm not here on the show doing the news for me. I'm not here on this planet for me. Nope. But I've got a more important role. And I've got a promise that I damn well ain't going to break. It's just one of those things. But folks, think before you hit that share button. Because you may think you're helping, but there's a very good chance you're not. Okay? If you want to help, if you want to save these veterans' lives or others' lives that suffer from mental illness, especially things involving anxiety and depression, most important thing you can do is listen. But you have to listen to understand, not listen to instruct. Okay, because I guarantee you, you're not instructing. I'm one of those people that if I need help with something, I will ask you. I will ask you. Plain and simple. If I need help, I will ask. Okay? It's pretty simple. Right? Now, when it comes to something like I'm having a rough day with anxiety or depression or something like that, that's a little bit different story, but that's my battle. That's my battle. Okay? And at that moment in time, I feel ashamed. I'm mad at myself. Just a whole flurry of emotions. So, yeah, there's a high chance I'm not going to ask for help. And if I were ever to make that ultimate decision, I'm damn straight not going to ask for help. That kind of defeats the purpose. I'm a logical person. But, and I want to emphasize that I am no way in that kind of mind frame at all. So, I've got 2 of the most incredible women in the world right in here in this room with me. One of them's a little bit whiny at the moment, and the other one's name is Jen. I could never walk away from them. I could never walk away. So again, I'm not here on this earth or on this show or anywhere for that matter for myself. And so as long as I feel useful, as long as I can help, I'm not going to give up. That's probably my coping tool. Probably my coping mechanism. So, I know it was a bit of a weird topic, per usual, for the monologue. But it was one of those things that I felt probably should be covered when I was experiencing it. And I'm actually feeling better. So I guess that's a benefit that I didn't plan for or necessarily desire. But I am feeling better, just getting it off my chest. So again, that's how much of an impact, folks. That's how much of an impact that can have on folks. Really can. Don't have to raise awareness. We know. Don't have to keep repeating over and over. We know. So let's fix it. The same goes for things like autism. Okay? We know. And we know that parents of autistic children are just as proud of those autistic children as they are any other child, and rightfully so. But we know this. Let's stop celebrating it. Let's stop using it for attention-seeking desires, and let's start demanding answers. Let's start demanding to know how years back it was like, 1 in 2,000? And now it's 1 in 50? And that was taken back in 2013? We're 5 years later, and the amount, the rates of autism has skyrocketed through the roof. The last numbers we have is 2013, that was 1 in 50. So what is it today? But how many people are demanding answers to that? Versus how many people are sharing the meme on Facebook? I'm not saying for those parents not to be proud of the children, or I'm not saying that. What I'm saying about it is if you put the same amount of effort in demanding an answer so that we can prevent future children from being screwed up from vaccines, I'll just say it, then we may get somewhere. So anyway, that's what I got for the monologue. I know, really odd one today, and if I offended people, I don't know what to tell you. I can't tell you that I care, because I don't. I simply don't. Thine field of fucks is barren. Because I'm speaking from a position that I wished I didn't know. And when it comes to a topic like this, I don't play games. So anyway, that's the monologue for the day. The rest of the show will be coming up. For those that just watched the monologue, I'd like to say thank you. As always, God bless you. We love you, and be one with your spirit.